Indominus Rex, the unconquerable king. This hybrid megatheropod launched a new era of Jurassic Park films in 2015, serving as a brutal, almost unbeatable antagonist that brought a fully functioning Jurassic World to its knees. The Indom's combination of stealth, intelligence, speed, and overwhelming power makes her a deadly threat in any ecosystem. But can this fictional blend of superpredators that kill sauropods for fun survive in the grim apex versus apex world of the Isle? We're going to analyze how the Indominus responds to the environs of its new home, hunts prey to satisfy its hunger, and confronts the hangar of native predators and competitors. I'd normally laugh at the idea of something trying to hunt the Indominus Rex, but this is the Isle. Here be monsters. Let's set the tone by covering how much of a threat the Indominus Rex is in her native Jurassic franchise. She's far longer and taller than real-life megatheropods, at between 50 and 55 feet long depending on the source. Her weight is unknown, with nearly every source providing a different number, but usually is cited at about 7 to 8 tons. That makes her taller and longer than an accurate T-Rex, but she's also lighter than any fully grown T-Rex adult. Her camouflage lets her blend in seamlessly with her surroundings, and she can control her body temperature to fool infrared cameras. She's smart enough to fool her handlers into letting her escape, and even recognized that she had to remove the tracker they'd placed underneath her skin. Given her nature as a movie monster, it makes sense that she's also far more durable than any real-life animal. She survived being slammed into glass and metal buildings with enough force that the buildings themselves were damaged. She no-sold non-lethal stun rounds from Jurassic World's asset containment team. Bone-crushing bites from Rexy barely pierced her skin. She fled but survived the machine gun fire and was only briefly stunned when a rocket exploded feet away from her. The Indominus can't just take hits, she can also deal out serious damage. She easily bites through the bullet-resistant aluminum oxynitride glass of the gyrosphere seconds after she snapped the neck of an ankylosaurus with her jaws. She flings the raptors like chew toys and physically overpowers Rexy, crushing small buildings in the process. Her claws can gouge solid cement and tear apart solid metal bars. In her initial escape, she was unharmed by a metal and cement gate closing on her side. It actually cracked against her, and she then proceeded to overpower its crushing force. She smashed through the concrete wall of the original Jurassic Park Visitor Center with little effort and ripped steel beams off the base of a zipline tower. We're not looking at an animal from the fossil record. This is a movie monster hybrid capable of doing movie monster things. So how does this movie monster fit into an island inhabited by video game giants? We need to find the area on the Isle that the Indominus would most likely choose to be her home territory. That's an area with lots of food and relatively low competition if possible, so she can have a relatively peaceful home base she can strike out from when she's feeling that violent itch. In the Isle, places where lots of player-controlled dinosaurs gather are called hotspots, so while the Indom likely wouldn't camp in the center of one, she'd want to be close to make sure she had ready access to food. Twin Lakes is one of the top hotspot contenders, given how there would be plenty of carnivores and herbivores for the attacking, as well as large water sources. The nearby forest and military complex provide plenty of terrain ideal for ambushes, something the Indom would excel at given her extremely well-honed camouflage abilities. This isn't the only part of the island that would make for a good base, however. The Isle is riddled with long rivers and vast lakes that all animals have to go to in order to drink fresh water, culminating in the aptly named Titan Lake. That would be another excellent spot for the Indominus to set up her attacks. She could sneak up close to an unsuspecting Triceratops or something similar and then burst from hiding, using her absurd stat line to deal fatal damage quickly. Given how the Isle is structured as a gigantic forested arena with the purpose of creating terrain ideal for combat and surprise attacks, this 8-ton superpredator that can functionally turn invisible really could set up shop just about anywhere. That's a home score of 9 out of 10. Which roster dinos would be edible? The Indominus has clearly proven herself to be a formidable threat, capable of damaging stone and metal structures and soaking up a great deal of punishment. As we just discussed, her ambush tactics would also make prey capture easier. In the original Jurassic World film, the only time we actually see the Indominus eat something is when she chomps down on a park worker. But her ideal diet can be inferred from the animals that form its unique genetic makeup. With the base genome of a Tyrannosaurus, the teeth of a Deinosuchus, and the size of a mutated Giga, it's clear that she's adapted for hunting large prey. Behaviorally, she'll kill just about anything that moves. That means small Isle natives like Dryosaurus, fleet-footed Gallimimus, and Pachycephalosaurus, while not in a size bracket that optimal foraging theory would predict the Indom would take, are absolutely on the menu. She'd likely be able to catch them without too much issue given her top speed of 30 to 35 miles an hour, combined with her ability to hide her presence. Large herbivores provide more calories, like the ceratopsian Diabloceratops and the hadrosaurs Maiasaura and Parasaurolophus. Bigger herbivores with better defenses include the iconic Thagomizer-wielding Stegosaurus, elephant-sized Triceratops with its frill and horns, Ankylosaurus, which the Indominus has already demonstrated the ability to take down, Therizinosaurus, although admittedly a smaller variant than the one from the Jurassic franchise, Camarasaurus, a medium-sized sauropod, Shantungosaurus, the largest non-sauropod dinosaur known, and Puertosaurus, a 50-ton titanosaur. The Indominus, as we know from the film, does not concern herself with the restrictions of optimal foraging theory. She kills where she wishes, when she wishes, often leaving corpses behind without even taking a bite. She doesn't need to consistently take down every single possible prey animal to earn a 10 out of 10 for hunger. She's basically living on a megatheropod's idea of paradise. Or she would be if these mega herbivores weren't roided out video game versions of their fossil record selves. The Indominus isn't the only dinosaur here that's cheating when it comes to stats, and we're going to cheat a little by including from scaling from Evrima in our legacy roster to make things interesting. A regular Tyrannosaurus from the Isle can casually fold metal bars with a head slam, but its bite is its strongest weapon. It takes 19 of those metal-crushing bites to take down a Shantungosaurus, and the big Hadrosaur stomp can one-shot something in its size class like a Giga if it times the attack right and hits the head. Triceratops has almost as much health as a Shantungosaurus and fierce weaponry of its own. Puertosaurus, on the far extreme, has over 4 times as much HP as a Shantungosaurus and quadruple the attack of a Tyrannosaurus, implying that it would take multiple times the metal-crushing bites to end the beast than it does Shantungosaurus. It could also severely injure the Indominus. That means that the Indominus would have to truly fight for its food, taking on herbivores that, while perhaps not quite as durable as itself, would get a chance to do damage before succumbing to its attacks. Overall, it gets a 7 out of 10 for hunger. It still has better durability and attack power than the majority of native herbivores, but taking these raging super tanks down is no walk in the Jurassic Park, and it would need to unlearn its raging berserker tendencies in order to eat sustainably and safely. On to Hanger, which includes both competitors and anything that might want to eat the Indominus. The Isle is rich with carnivores ranging in size from diminutive Velociraptor to the old-style Jurassic Park 3 inspired Spinosaurus. Velociraptor is a small, fast pack hunter with keen night vision. They focus on taking down wee herbivores like Psittacosaurus, animals that the Indominus likely wouldn't be that interested in. She's not too concerned about these guys, even if their Jurassic World equivalents proved irritating. Threat level, low. Austroraptor is a huge jump up from its more famous cousin. These slender, fast dromaeosaurs are pack hunters, but their attack and health are so low that taking out a pack would be like stomping on poppets for the Indom. Threat level low. Dilophosaurus stalks the night, using its speed and stealth to capture small to medium prey. While it's even bigger than a Utahraptor at 1,200 kilograms at over 6 meters long, it doesn't go after the same prey as Indom and by itself isn't problematic for our phantom megatheropod invader. Threat level low. Herrerasaurus is a fast, small game hunter with virtually no niche overlap. Threat level low. Ceratosaurus travels and lives alone, not calling any one area of the Isle home. At 2250 kilograms and 8 meters long, it's quite a bit bigger than its real-life counterpart, although it's small fry in the ecosystem of the Isle. While its bite could potentially be a problem, getting its teeth through the bullet-resistant scales of the Indominus is unlikely. Threat level low. Carnotaurus, in my opinion, is one of the best designed dinosaur models in the Isle when it comes to anatomical accuracy. The niche they picked for it is cool too. It's a super fast predator that can appear in packs, wearing down its prey through persistence hunting at high speeds. While they're fast, their attack power is fairly low, nothing that the Indominus can't shrug off or even eat. Threat level low. Suchomimus is one of the largest and strongest predators on the island that isn't one of the apexes. At over 9.5 meters long and over 3.5 tons, it's a powerful carnivore that uses its intimidating bulk to specialize as a semi-aquatic fish eater. While its damage output is fairly high, it's much slower than the Indominus and still gets ragdolled in a one-on-one encounter. Not to mention, they aren't competing for the same food source. Threat level low. Baryonyx is essentially a Suchomimus, but smaller, faster, and proportionally less hard-hitting. Threat level low. Acrocanthosaurus exists in an awkward zone where it's far stronger than most in-game predators but gets folded by the apexes. This sail-backed Carcharodontosaur hunts the Maiasaura and Diabloceratops available on the island, as well as taking down subadults of bigger carnivores like Giga and Rex. It's slow and has fairly low damage, giving it a threat level low. Utahraptor is the largest known dromaeosaur from the real world and is even more robustly built on the Isle. Nearly 2 meters tall at the hip and weighing a full metric ton, Utahraptors are highly successful pack hunters found all over the island. They can even bring down Shantungosaurus when in groups, so they clearly pack a punch. A cooperative group of Utahraptors might not select Indominus as a target, but they could definitely do damage, especially when considering that they're the most agile large predators in the game. They'd be able to harass and pick at the Indominus using their high jump to attack its back, just as we saw in Jurassic World. However, we also know how that fight ended, and it would ultimately end up the same there. Threat level medium. Allosaurus is a fast mid-tier predator that often hunts in groups. It excels in ambush scenarios, is agile, and recovers quickly when attacked, making it a persistent threat that theoretically could swarm the Indom, with each adult Allosaurus at 8.5 meters long and 2.8 tons. However, the Indominus has armor to protect it and the attack power to one-shot an Allosaurus, so even a group of them wouldn't provide too much of a problem. Threat level medium. Giganotosaurus is one of the few dinosaurs in the Legacy Isle that's actually smaller in-game than it is in real life. It's longer at 13.2 meters compared to the actual animal's 12.2, and taller, 3.8 meters at the hip versus 3.6, but is incredibly lightweight, 6.4 tons versus 8.2 tons. They must be feeding it styrofoam or something. Giga's in-game attack is 700 compared to the 1200 of a T-Rex that casually bends metal. That's below the Indominus for sure, but not to the point where it's incapable of harming the invasive hybrid. They typically hunt alone or in pairs, taking down the crazy durable Shantungosaurus when in small groups. Individually, they're far more powerful than the medium carnivores we've covered so far, but their relative lack of gregariousness brings down their threat level to medium. Spinosaurus in the Isle brings back the monstrous, long-legged, absurdly gigantic beast that many paleoenthusiasts grew up with. Where Giga is a slow bleeder build, Spino is a bulky tank with lower damage, faster DPS, and higher health. They specialize in hunting larger herbivores and even pick on medium-sized predators. Given their sail and length, however, they struggle to move effectively in the forests of the Isle, but are more agile than the other apexes in open ground. Threat level medium. Tyrannosaurus, as mentioned, has the highest attack power of any non-mutant carnivore in the game, and with its ability to bend and break metal is the link upon which the scaling chain depends. That's the reason why Indom isn't completely ripping apart everything on the Isle like paper. Just like Giga, the Isle Rexes are ultra lightweight compared to their real-life versions, at 13.2 meters long, 4 meters tall to hip, and an emaciated 5.8 tons. This is the future that Gregory S. Paul would have us live in. Still, in the Isle they hunt solo, capping their threat level at medium. Which of those apexes would be the biggest threat to Indominus, given that they're the hybrid's most common form of competition? In the system of the Isle, Giganotosaurus is in the bottom rank. It does less damage and has less health than Rex, and is less agile than Spinosaurus, forcing Gigas to form packs if they want to be threatening. That's not to say it's not a beast. To any carnivore other than a Rex or a Spino, a Giga is an existential threat. Spinosaurus is even more dangerous. It's tanky with more health than the other two apexes, and although its damage is lower, can attack more quickly. It's the slowest of the three, but its survivability makes it a problem. T-Rex is by far the strongest apex on the island. Its ridiculously high attack and bone break ability, not to mention high speed, make it a death sentence in a 1v1 against other apexes. T-Rex is particularly infamous and renowned for being a Giga killer, chasing down and killing Giganotosaurus with ease. Even a single T-Rex can hold its own against multiple Gigas with a good chance of taking out at least one of them. Rex's superiority over Giga in single combat is brutal and one of the most one-sided apex matchups in the game. Spino still loses, albeit to a lesser degree, still with T-Rex generally killing Spinos, but I'm kind of okay with it. It makes up for the nonsense that Jurassic Park pulled with their megatheropod tier system. The Hypos exist in a league of their own. Mutated strains of existing apexes, they're much larger and stronger than the regular megatheropods on the island. Hyperendocrin Tyrannosaurus can often one-shot the Shantungosaurus that it takes a regular metal-bending Rex 19 bites to kill, likely putting it in the same tier as or slightly above the Indominus, which can claw through rock and metal casually. Hypo Rex also has a statement of being practically bulletproof, which may put its durability higher than the Indominus. The sheer staggering size of these things needs to be emphasized. While they're no longer in the game to directly compare, gameplay footage from when they were available as playable creatures gives you an idea of their scale. Hypo Rex, for example, is twice the height of a regular Tyrannosaurus, weighs 25 tons, and can easily take on 5 regular Rexes at once while suffering minimal damage. Hypo Giga is of comparable size, although has a canon in-game weight of only 20 tons, keeping the theme of unrealistically low masses. Hypo Spino isn't as bulky, but is longer, and its tail has become almost ankylosaurian. Hypo Rex is easily the strongest of the three, but any one of them is solidly on Indominus' level or higher, given their absurd attack power and the fact that they dwarf the hybrid. No, seriously, look at the size difference. At that scale, their armor is also ridiculous. Hypos are also incredibly and constantly hungry, forcing them to be far more aggressive than normal animals. Overall, the Indominus earns a 6 out of 10 for Hanger. She can take down most of the small and medium predators fairly easily and is definitely stronger than any of the apexes in a one-on-one confrontation, but dealing with pack hunting is something she's not very good at. She started losing badly in Jurassic World once Rexy and Blue teamed up and would have had a hard time with groups of Gigas or Acros. The Hypos seem to be even stronger than she is, and given how they're 3 to 4 times her weight, they have the mechanical advantage to toss her around like a toy. She won't be the apex she's used to being, but settling in as one of the top theropods on the island really isn't bad. That's an overall Thrive, Read, and Alive score of 7.3 out of 10. The Indominus thrives in the terrain of the Isle and can find food, but will have to deal with herbivores that can cause her serious damage and carnivores that use group tactics, something she's proven vulnerable to, along with apex predators of her own caliber or higher. Of course, there's something that needs to be discussed. How Apollo, the company in control of the Isle, would react to this fast, intelligent, stealthy hybrid that's stronger than any of their non-hypo carnivores. The mission to capture the invasive megatheropod lasts weeks. Task forces are outsmarted and eaten alive, leaving only their weapons and trails of blood. Finally, a heavy artillery force captures the Indominus and brings it back to Tartarus for analysis, keeping it heavily sedated. They sequence the white monster's genome, learning how it's pieced together, and then create a hybrid of their own, one designed to take out the rogue hypo-apexes that Apollo engineering can no longer control. Meet the Hyperendocrin Indominus, also known as Indominus apocalypsis, or the unconquerable apocalypse. 20 meters long and 22 tons of muscle, armor, and claws. The bioengineers at Apollo nicknamed her Artemis, a living weapon still monitored by Tartarus technology via the neural implant that tracks and controls her. Artemis was intended to take out the rampaging hypos already on the island that Apollo engineering no longer had the military technology to handle, and boy is she up for the job. Artemis is between Hyporex and Giga in terms of raw body mass, with armor as durable as either of theirs, but add to the danger with her Indominus sourced abilities. The bulk of her genome is Hyporex, giving her a steel-crushing bite with a tendency to snap bones. Hypocarnotaurus gives her wicked front-facing horn, sharp enough to slice right through the scales of her opponents, along with high agility and speed for such an enormous carnivore. Given the sheer aggression of the hypo she's intended to battle, armor is also an absolute necessity. Her dorsal plates are thick and honeycombed, their lightweight weave allowing for defense without compromising speed, and have a surface microstructure similar to the sandpaper arrangement of shark skin. Indominus apocalypsis is created with the ability to metabolize iron from the blood of their prey and sequester the metal in their armor, making it incredibly durable and sharp. And what is defense without offense? Even a single uber dinosaur may be overwhelmed by the sheer number of hypos that she needs to take out. Artemis's teeth are also a sequestration site for molecular iron, and her bulky, spike-shaped dentition is designed to crush the armor of her hyperendocrine rivals. Her long, powerful arms can exert hundreds of thousands of newtons of force to seize enemy necks and bring them within range of her destructive jaws. Artemis was a huge success. She was able to thin the population of rogue hypos on the island, taking out Rexes, Gigas, and Spinos like the assassin she was bred to be. However, nature has a way of fighting back. A variant of the Magna strain mutated, creating a creature that ultimately doomed the goddess of the hunt. Apollo engineering refers to this monster as Typhon, a Magna Tyrannus that has been twisted and mutated into a 30-meter killer of killers. While Artemis crushed bones, Typhon detonated them. While Artemis protected itself with thick plate armor, Typhon developed toxic spikes that envenomated whatever unfortunate animal they grazed. And although Artemis could cloak in both visible light and infrared, Typhon's ability to track and absorb all forms of electromagnetic radiation gave it the perfect weapon to find her. The only genetic sample found from the animal, contained in saliva on Artemis's half-eaten carcass, told the scientists at Tartarus that Typhon had the ability to store and release various forms of electromagnetic radiation in the form of searing, blistering heat. That explained the scorch marks on the Hypo Indominus, and how Typhon can be tracked by occasional patches of blackened, burned forest. Attempts to capture the creature have not succeeded. I told Apollo Engineering to stop trying, but they didn't seem interested in listening to a guy who just appeared in their lab without clearance. Oh well. If they want to lose everybody on the security staff, they can go ahead. It's not my fight. Or maybe it is. Perhaps releasing the Reaper strain into the nostril of a Magna Tyrannus wasn't my brightest idea. I'm sure it'll be fine. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy speculative evolution, survival scenarios, or actual paleontology, you might consider subscribing for maximum entertainment. I certainly had fun with this one, and while I thoroughly enjoyed the Subnautica videos, I don't want to run that series into the ground. Do you like the Isle as a place to put prehistoric creatures? If so, let me know, along with other survival situations you'd enjoy an analysis of. I'm the Vividen, and I'll see you the next time I want to make an awesome bro megatheropod with realistic soft tissue levels.